Today, we're navigating a profoundly tragic and very complex event that has quite understandably gripped the nation. I'm talking about the recent school shooting at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. It's a story with just so many layers, from the immediate devastating impact to, well, the challenging questions that arise almost instantly regarding motive and how an incident like this gets officially classified. We've got a comprehensive stack of sources here: articles, initial reports, official statements, some eyewitness accounts too. Our mission, as always, is to really try and cut through the noise, find those crucial details, and help you truly grasp what's most important and what the implications are from all this information.
Indeed. And what's particularly striking, I think, and often, well, fascinating isn't the right word, but significant in the immediate aftermath of an incident of this magnitude is how quickly it can become framed by authorities, even as investigations are very much, in their early stages. We'll be examining precisely how federal and local authorities are describing this event and what specific details from the scene in those initial hours inform those very specific designations. Understanding this early framing is pretty crucial for comprehending the investigative path ahead.
So, okay, let's dive right into the core of this deep dive then. We're focusing on a truly horrific shooting that unfolded at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. And what stands out immediately, right from the outset, is that the FBI made a very significant statement about how they're approaching this investigation. It set a pretty particular tone.
That's absolutely right. And it's a classification that immediately drew widespread attention and certainly shapes the federal response. FBI Director Kash Patel, in a post he made on X, formerly Twitter, explicitly stated that the FBI is investigating this shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crime targeting Catholics.
Wow. Domestic terrorism and a hate crime.
Exactly. This isn't just descriptive language. For the FBI, domestic terrorism implies an act intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, or maybe to influence government policy through violence. And hate crime, well, that means it was motivated by prejudice against a specific group, in this instance, Catholics.
So these aren't just labels.
Not at all. They guide the entire federal approach, allocating resources, dictating the legal frameworks that will apply. This immediate federal classification gives a very specific direction to the federal aspect of the investigation from its earliest hours.
And while that federal classification quickly set the tone, the most profound and immediate impact was, of course, just the sheer human cost. This horrific shooting, unfolding during what should have been a peaceful Wednesday morning mass, left 2 innocent children dead, 17 others injured. When you hear that those children were just 8 and 10 years old, celebrating mass at Annunciation Church, it just makes the sheer cruelty of this attack almost impossible to grasp. It's just devastating.
It truly is. And this raises an important question, doesn't it? What exactly happened at Annunciation Church that led to such a profound tragedy, and particularly to such specific official classifications so early in the investigation? Understanding the sequence of events as described in our sources is really key to piecing together this puzzle.
So let's go back to that Wednesday morning. You can almost imagine the calm, kids arriving for mass, parents dropping them off, and then just before 8 a.m. local time, that calm is just shattered. Police began receiving frantic calls, reporting a shooting, and the horror began to unfold. Can you paint a clearer picture of how this attack actually unfolded based on what we know from the sources?
Certainly. Our sources indicate that the attacker, who was later identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman, approached the side of the Annunciation Church building. This building, importantly, also houses the school.
Right.
He then fired dozens of shots through the windows into the facility. The details about the weaponry are quite specific, painting a picture of a prepared and deliberate assault. He used 3 firearms: a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol.
3 firearms.
Yes. Additionally, a smoke bomb was found at the scene, which further suggests calculated, aggressive kind of action.
Dozens of shots and through the windows. That's an intense level of firepower. And the detail about firing through the windows immediately brings up a crucial investigative question about where the firing actually originated from, right? Was he inside or outside?
Exactly. This detail is central to understanding the attack's mechanics and, potential targets. Officials are specifically investigating whether he shot inside the building or if all the shots came from outside the church. What's noted, and this is quite significant, is that no casings from bullets were found inside the building.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Which strongly suggests the firing was predominantly, if not entirely, from the exterior. This kind of forensic detail can tell investigators a lot about the attacker's intent and operational strategy, whether he was trying to maximize casualties from a distance or maybe attempting to gain entry.
I can only imagine the sheer terror of those moments for everyone inside. And it resonates beyond the walls of the church, too. We have an account from someone who lives nearby, PJ Mudd, who was working from home close to the church. He told the Wall Street Journal, "I could hear boom, 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 boom." He said it suddenly dawned on him it was a shooting.
Mm.
He then ran to the church and saw 3 magazine cartridges on the ground. You know, those detachable boxes that feed ammunition into a firearm. This really drives home the intensity and immediacy of the attack, the sheer volume of rounds being fired in such a short period.
It really does. And in the midst of this chaos and the immediate aftermath, the identity of the attacker quickly emerged. Robin Westman, the 23-year-old, died at the scene from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. What's particularly significant here, and a point of ongoing investigation, is that while the FBI has made its strong statement regarding an anti-Catholic hate crime and domestic terrorism, local authorities have not yet released a suspected motive for the attack itself.
Right.
And this creates a fascinating sort of tension in the early days of such an investigation.
That's a critical distinction, isn't it? On one hand, you have the FBI's federal classification, and on the other, the local police's ongoing investigation into the specific motive. How do these two perspectives typically coexist or even potentially diverge in the early days of a high-profile case like this? What did Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara say about their approach?
Well, this is where we see the different mandates kind of at play. Chief O'Hara emphasized that the Minneapolis Police Department is leading the investigation with support from federal agencies. He made it clear they will pursue evidence wherever it leads, suggesting a comprehensive approach rather than prematurely locking into a single overarching motive.
Okay, so keeping options open.
Exactly. He described the incident as a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping, adding that the sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible. This highlights the local police's focus on the criminal act itself and the tragic outcome, while the FBI's designation helps streamline federal resources under specific legal umbrellas. The local focus remains on building a complete picture of why this specific individual committed this specific act.
And that search for a granular personal motive often leads to examining the attacker's connections, doesn't it? Our sources reveal an interesting and potentially crucial detail about the attacker's mother.
Yes, that's a very poignant and potentially critical piece of information. The attacker's mother, Mary Grace Westman, previously worked at Annunciation School. A school newsletter from 2016 mentions her employment.
Okay.
And a Facebook post indicates she retired from her role there in 2021. The fact that the attacker's mother had such a recent direct connection to the school adds a significant layer to the investigation. Was this a targeted act rooted in a personal grievance? Perhaps something related to his mother's employment or departure? Or was it primarily a broader ideological attack that simply leveraged a familiar location? This kind of detail often shifts the investigative focus from purely abstract ideology to personal history, making the search for motive even more complex and layered.
And there was also something about an online note, right? Something Westman intended to publish. That certainly sounds like it could be a window into his thinking.
Indeed. Police found a note that Robin Westman had scheduled to publish online right around the time of the shooting.
Scheduled? Wow.
Yeah. Investigators have since deleted the post from public view. While the contents haven't been revealed, the existence of such a scheduled message often indicates premeditation and, a desire to communicate something.
A manifesto, maybe, or justification?
Possibly. It's a common element in these types of attacks, where perpetrators seek to explain or justify their actions to a wider audience. The fact that its contents are being withheld by investigators suggests it's a crucial piece of evidence that could directly address the motive. But they're keeping it close, probably to avoid prejudicing the investigation or inadvertently spreading the attacker's intended message. It's an important piece of the puzzle that remains under wraps, but its very existence speaks volumes about the attacker's mindset.
Amidst all these devastating details and the unfolding investigation into the why, there are also incredible just heartwarming stories of bravery and resilience, even from the youngest victims. There's a particular account from a 10-year-old survivor that truly stands out.
Yes, it's truly a powerful testament to the human spirit in the face of profound danger. A 10-year-old boy who survived the attack told CBS affiliate WCCO that his friend actually saved him from the bullets. He recalled, "I was like 2 seats away from the stained glass window. My friend Victor saved me, though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit."
Oh, my goodness.
He then added, "My friend got hit in the back. He went to the hospital. I was super scared for him, but I think now he's okay." Victor's actions. A child instinctively shielding another. It reminds us of the incredible innate human instinct to protect others, even in the most terrifying circumstances.
Mm.
It offers a glimmer of light in an otherwise dark moment.
Victor's actions are just extraordinary, a real hero in every sense of the word. And beyond the immediate scene, the impact of this tragedy resonated much wider, didn't it? Even reaching the highest levels of leadership globally.
Absolutely. Pope Leo XIV, who is, of course, the first American pope,
Yep.
was among those who paid tribute to the young victims, saying he was profoundly saddened by the attack. Here in the U.S., Governor Tim Walz mentioned that President Donald Trump and his team had expressed their deep condolences and offered assistance. Trump later directed that the U.S. flag would be flown at half-mast at the White House as a show of respect to the victims. Governor Walz also remarked on how all too common such situations are, not just in Minnesota but across the country, expressing his hope that no community or school would ever have to go through a day like this.
A grim reminder.
It really underscores the broader societal conversation that inevitably follows such a horrific act, highlighting the collective grief and the ongoing national struggle with gun violence and acts of terror in public spaces.
Okay, so what does all of this mean, really? We've explored the horrific details of the Minneapolis school shooting, the incredible bravery amidst the tragedy, the specifics of the attack, and those early significant declarations from the FBI. It's a lot to process.
It truly is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, or try to, we see a complex web of information that's still very much unraveling. The FBI's swift designation as an anti-Catholic hate crime and domestic terrorism, well, that sits alongside the local police, cautiously emphasizing the ongoing nature of their investigation and the lack of a publicly released motive.
Right, those two tracks.
Yeah, it highlights the differing perspectives and information streams that emerge in the immediate aftermath of such events. Then you add the detail about the attacker's mother working at the school and the existence of that now deleted online note. These add further layers of complexity to understanding potential motivations that are not yet public but are clearly part of the investigative process. It just illustrates how an incident can be viewed through multiple lenses simultaneously.
Indeed. And as Chief O'Hara so powerfully put it, it's a stark reminder of the sheer cruelty of such acts, but also, thank goodness, of the incredible resilience and care, like Victor shielding his friend.
This incident, like many others, it leaves us pondering the unseen forces at play and maybe the multifaceted nature of truth in a crisis. How much does a perceived grievance, an online message, a personal connection, or a broad ideological framework truly shape the narrative and the official classification of such a devastating act? It makes you wonder how crucial those unreleased details like the note will ultimately be in fully understanding the why behind the what, and how much the story remains hidden from public view, at least for now.
Absolutely. And for you, our listener, perhaps this deep dive sparks a question about how we as a society process and understand evolving information during those initial crucial hours and days of a tragedy like this. What role does immediate official classification play in shaping public perception and guiding investigations? And how do we balance that understandable human need for quick answers with the thoroughness required for justice and ultimately a complete understanding? It's a challenging balance, isn't it? One that often plays out in real time right before our eyes.